You got to be financially literate as well if you're gonna go
Yeah.
into trading, because just like how you said, brother, like how you have to treat this as a business. It's true. You have to treat it as a business, and you have to be very knowledgeable and aware of everything and all the variables around it. Because if you stay as ignorant as I was, you're gonna be placed in a very difficult situation.
Yeah, it's gonna hurt.
And you're gonna have to take money out of your pocket, and you're not gonna like it.
It's
Trust
gonna
me,
hurt.
it sucks
Yeah,
when you
it
gotta
does.
pay a certain amount. Like, holy crap.
Yeah. All right, let's do it. All right, welcome to the Fortunes Funding in-person podcast. First one in quite a while. We got two dope guests today, right? We got Tim and we got Shafath. And we're here in New York, so this is a nice change of pace. This is where the real traders are at, you know? And we just kick things off. We'll start from the top. So we start with Tim. Tell us about your payout.
So I'm Tim. I got my most recent payout was like $1,447 on a 100K account. I've been trading with Fortunes Funding since I think I got approved for my account in November. So I've had the account for a long time, but at the end of December, beginning of January, I didn't trade for like a month. But yeah, I've had two payouts with Fortunes Funding. I had one before that, which was the initial payout of like $1,000. Going for that third payout soon.
Got to run it up on the way.
Yeah.
Are you funded right now?
Yeah.
Bet. Are you at profit right now?
I'm in slight drawdown right now. I was in like 5% of drawdown though, and I just came out of it, so I'm okay with that. I didn't lose the account.
You're fine. Yeah, you just gotta keep it steady.
Yeah.
Well, I'm Shafath Actor. A lot of people call me Snow. It's a lot more easier to remember and pronounce. It's what my first name means.
Why didn't you say that so far ago?
I'm so sorry. I was thinking in my head what to do with this interview.
Nah, do whatever you want.
Alright,
I'm
bro.
definitely calling you Snow though. That's a dope name, bro.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. But for Fortune's Funding, I was funded 100K, I believe, somewhat during last summer, not too long after Fortunes was released, when Luca from NLT and Ali from Pippin Dip had put me onto it. Grateful for those guys. Shout out to them as well. And from there, I had a payout of around 2K, a little over 2K. And of course, from there, I was supposed to have a few more payouts, but then, of course, I got a little greedy, thinking, oh, snap, payout from Fortunes, get a few more. And so ended up like losing a lot of my, I guess you can say, trading foundation, kind of like slacked a little bit.
Oh, you didn't stick to your setup?
Yeah, I didn't stick to my setup or my confluences. That was the main thing, man, because I was mainly looking at the money, because I was like, oh, snap, it's not bad, Getting paid 2K for I guess you could say for the 3 weeks of actually trading with a funded account, it makes up for a lot of things, and from someone who's from New York, like, you guys have been here in New York, you guys from around here, you guys know that finance is like almost everything. You gotta be on top of it, otherwise being behind on the bills, this, that, and the third, it's gonna really like fuck you up mentally.
1000%.
Yeah, and if you want to stick to trading, then you gotta make sure you keep your mentality under ropes. You have to be calm, consistent, and take action when you have to, based on your setups, your confluences, however you trade, however it is. At the moment, funding-wise, I am not funded by Fortunes. I ended up losing that account not too long after I got my first payout, actually. And this, to be honest, of course, being totally transparent. From there, I traded several other firms, and a lot of them...
It's cold-blooded.
Yeah, it is, but I did that just to like explore the platform space.
Of course.
And I regret it.
I'm just messing
I
you.
regret it.
There we go.
I really do regret it, because I've
Why?
lost not only just funding, but denial of payouts for reasons
really?
that were not legitimate. It was bullshit.
That sucks,
And then
bro.
you have prop firms now that are just closing. That's the reason why I only opened up 3 accounts from like Fortunes, and I am trading them right now in the challenge phases starting February, which was earlier this month.
Yeah.
And the main reason why is because in January, I lost over $1 million in capital from prop firms because they were closing down. They were red flagged. They're getting investigated. Platforms changing. This, that, and the third. So now the goal is to actually stick with Fortunes and maybe one other platform. I'm not 100% too certain. It's just, again, I'm being transparent and honest. And it's just because when you get a payout from a company, you can hold them to the highest regard in terms of integrity. Because in this industry, or like as James said it before, in this niche, it's it's a lot of bullshit, and I don't know exactly what he said word for word, but it's a lot of explicit bullshit in this fucking like industry, man. That I wasn't exposed to it. I was ignorant of because I didn't know at that time.
Yeah. And now you know better.
Now I know about it. Yeah, it's just like you said. You know, like you gotta take your losses or learn from your losses.
Yeah, yeah. So we kind of talked about that earlier. We were talking about how sometimes an L is just as good as a W or even better, you know, because if you learn what doesn't work, then you're closer to being on track for what does work. So it's less about what you do and it's more about what you don't do if you want to be successful. Yeah, so we'll just get started about your introduction to trading and stuff like that. Tim, you want to take it away?
Yeah, so when I first graduated high school back in 2018, I just kind of thought to myself, I got to start taking my finances like seriously. So then I kind of started looking into like options, and I didn't know much about it at the time. I just kind of dabbled around with options. I was just trading with it for fun. And then a little while later, I ended up dropping out of college and I had all this debt and I wasn't 100% sure what I wanted to do with my life. And I was thinking, you know, maybe if I put more effort into like this trading thing, I could pay off my student debt and I could have like a more enjoyable life and live life to the fullest. So like because of those reasons, I started putting more and more effort into trading. I'd say I started caring more in like 2022, and in the beginning of 2023, I really took it as serious as possible, and I tried to treat it almost like a business. Because a lot of people, they might like throw money around, but like if you're trading it like a business, it's a lot different. And you might think you're treating it like a business, but you might not actually be if you like review it. So yeah, I just focused on my education, my psychology, just finding A+ setups. I was journaling all my trades, seeing like what was working for me, what wasn't. And then yeah, and I think since then I've seen a lot of improvement in my trading, because before I wasn't taking it seriously enough. And currently I'm trading, I look at like fair value gaps, and I like looking at when fair value gaps get inversed. But in the beginning I was trading like supply and demand and like order blocks.
Okay, so we said that we were going to focus on this for a second earlier. So break down, what is a fair value gap?
Oh yeah, so a fair value gap is like a 3-candle formation. So there's a candle on the left, the middle, and the right. So that middle candle, there's a gap where the candle on the left and the candle on the right don't touch. Okay. So and a lot of times these gaps, they let to get filled in, because that shows like price kind of just shot through an area and there was no retracement filling like orders. So either like there's pending orders, I'm not too sure how it works like on the back end, but I've noticed from the charts, a lot of these times, these zones like to get filled in a little bit and respected, but once a candle actually closes outside of that zone, to me that fair value gap is disrespected now. So let's say, like in theory, the fair value gap should have gotten respected, but now that it's disrespected, I believe that there will be a reversal through that fair value gap.
Okay, and that's what you shoot for, is reversals?
Yeah, I guess I usually look for like where's the liquidity, so I'll like start in the 1 hour and I'll go down to like the 1 minute and I'll mark out like all the points of liquidity, and I'll look for like a singular fair value gap delivering to like some point of liquidity, and then I'll look for that fair value gap to get inversed. So that would show like we went to a point of liquidity, took the liquidity, and now I've seen a confirmation that something got disrespected that like delivered to that point of liquidity.
So you're looking for a continuation after that, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but I mean, one thing that really did change my trading though was I never used to look at liquidity, and since I started paying attention to liquidity, it really helped my trading a lot, I think.
Liquidity is king. What did you say before?
Huh?
What did you say before about liquidity?
Oh yeah, so if you are ignorant, unaware of where the liquidity is, you're most likely going to be the liquidity.
That's 1,000% correct.
For those fair value gaps, because I know you say like you look for the reversals, but when you originally try to get to those fair value gaps, do you look for literally the trends that are like going at the moment? So let's say if it's on a bullish trend, you look for like 3 bullish candles, or?
I guess I really don't care what the color of the candles. It's more just as long as there's a gap, and I want like a singular gap in that price leg.
Gap
so
between
like,
the wicks, or?
Yeah, between the wicks.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
So like I'll look like in that price leg that delivered to that point of liquidity. So I'll look at that whole leg, and then I want to look for only one fair value gap in that leg. Once a candle closes above it.
Yeah, it's exactly like almost very identical to like what I learned from Luca from NLT. Again, shout out to him. Because he actually got me into journaling and getting into like fair value gaps, which is a major game changer for like trading, because you're actually able to see your actions, you know. As someone who was a personal trainer in the fitness industry for a very long time, I can see people's mistakes through their movements, their body mechanics, the way they walk, the way they run. I can just tell exactly what's wrong with them, the weak points, the weak chains and links. And through practical use of actually seeing them doing every exercise to repetition is how they get better. But they need to be first aware of what they're doing, because most of the time, even when I do it a bicep curl, they don't even know they're using their shoulders too much.
Yeah.
Their wrist is taking a lot of damage, beating. The joints are taking a lot of beating instead of actually working on engaging the muscle. Until you show them a video of, hey, look, this is how you're doing it. This is how I want you to do it. As long as they're able to digest that information, and I think digesting the information is actually the most critical part about it. But you can only do that after you're seeing what you're doing wrong.
Yeah.
Or being able to actually review it. But most of the time, people don't journal. They think that they can just keep a mental note of it. But to be honest, if you're not using anything to practical usages, then you're just literally wasting your time because you're going to repeat your mistakes.
1,000%. It's also been scientifically proven that when you write something down, your retention and just like your learning from that is a lot better, which is part of the reason they say, like, if you're reading a book or if you're listening to an audiobook or something, like, you want to take actual notes because it fires different things in your brain that just increases your ability to learn and adapt. So that's a vital thing to do that most people don't do.
Because a lot of people, sometimes you could give them the same exact information in like 10 different ways.
Yeah.
And there will be that one way that, that thing that they say clicked.
Yeah.
But in order for it to click, you got to digest information. But you got to take those actual course routes and actions as needed in order to get there in the first place, But I was one of those, like, I guess you could say, arrogant people that wouldn't take those practical actions that were needed to become a more profitable trader.
Yeah, no. If you're arrogant, it's just not going to work. But on a side note, as a former personal trainer, what's it like looking at somebody with no weak links, bro?
I don't know about any weak links, man. But man, it's.
So how'd you get into trading?
Trading. Okay, so Trading actually is something that I had never had any interest in, particularly because of riba, which in Islamic terms is interest. Because there's a lot of interest when it comes to trading, when you're swing trading,
Yeah.
There's a lot of swap fees. And for those that may not know that are Muslim watching this, or perhaps those that don't know the terminologies, swap fees are fees that occur when the broker is holding your trade for the next trading day and to keep it open. But those are interest-based fees, though, and in Islam and for a lot of like Muslims, that is like taboo. We don't want to involve ourselves with interest. It goes against our religion, which is the reason why we look at a lot of like Muslim countries, which traders are moving to left and right, is because a lot of them are tax-free. Because tax is something that's, again, it's interest-based. It's goes against our religion, and of course, you get to keep all your capital.
Yeah.
Unlike here in New York, where they kind of rape you left and right with tax.
You don't get to keep any of your capital.
Nah, especially in trading, because even after I had that first payout, and more payouts from firms and other brokers, I was very ignorant of short-term capital gains tax and like several other taxes. So when it came time around to do my taxes last year,
you're like, what the hell is this?
Oh God! I didn't see this coming. And I told Sir Hans Felix too on like the interview online, is the same exact thing. You got to be financially literate as well if you're gonna go into trading, because just like how you said, brother, like how you have to treat this as a business. It's true. You have to treat it as a business, and you have to be very knowledgeable and aware of everything and all the variables around it. Because if you stay as ignorant as I was, you're going to be placed in a very difficult situation.
Yeah, it's going to hurt.
And you're going to have to take money out of your pocket, and you're not going to like it. Trust me.
Hurt.
It sucks. When you got to pay a certain amount, like, holy crap.
Yeah. How much have you gotten paid in total out of all prop firms?
Total in prop firms, I don't want to give like a number for people to think that they can do the same exact thing. That's happened so frequently. You give a number and people are like, oh, I'm going to make that same exact thing.
Yeah.
Or even better. But I can say I've made over 6 figures, alhamdulillah, from prop firms and brokers combined. Not just prop firms alone. If it's prop firms alone, it's below 6 figures. But with brokers combined, like my personal accounts, then it's like slightly over 6 figures.
How long have you been trading?
I've been trading since 2022, thanks to Irfan EB, who's from AU Capital. Shout out to him. I'm no longer affiliated with him or like really, I guess you can say, have a close relationship with them. But I do give credit where credit is due.
Of course.
If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be trading here today. He got me down with the fundamentals of learning US 30 actually, which we were showing on the charts earlier and talking about. And I wasn't a big fan of it because I was just hitting my stop loss left. Like, again, it's just ignorance.
It'd be like that sometimes.
And it's just crazy because, like, there's more than just charts to this.
Yeah.
There's more than just charts, honestly. And you guys have to really understand that, because it's a lot of fundamentals a lot of global economics that people don't even think about, you know? Like, maybe people use Forex Factory here and there, like those red folders. Don't just use that. You have to use information outside of that.
Yeah.
You have to look around everything that's happening around what you're trading in particular, too, because there were times where I would look at information and I would have hopes that, oh, if this is happening, then this is what's going to happen after that as a result. And sometimes I wouldn't even be looking at the right pairs. I'd be looking at the wrong fucking currency. It's like, what am I doing, you know? And I wouldn't be aware of any of this, and I would have stayed ignorant if it wasn't for Luca, who actually helped me get down journaling. And there's so many ways to journal, too. Like, I honestly journal through a personal notebook, but there's so many apps now, like Tradezilla and, like, a whole bunch of different platforms, too, you can use. So I highly recommend that. It's just... It takes your trading to the next level. It really does.
Well, I mean, and like you said, if you're going to treat it like a business, like if you have a business, you take notes and you keep down what works and what doesn't. You know, like if you lost fucking $20,000 on a deal, like you're going to make sure that you know what went wrong with that deal, right? You're not going to do that again. But people will lose $20,000 on a fucking trade, and they'll just like, oh. And they'll just run into the next trade without like
or
really
like if they're in drawdown,
breaking down what
like
happened.
They lose like a high leverage drawdown. If they're like down to 4% drawdown, 6% drawdown, like, oh, I'll make it right back up. You know, like they revenge trade this time third. It's like no, you have to really look at why did you take that loss. You know.
Yeah.
But it's a learning experience.
That's what it is. It's nonstop learning experience. That's what's kind of cool about it. So you said you don't trade US 30 anymore, right?
Not as much, no.
What do you
Only time
trade?
that I trade it is during CPI or PPI.
See, I don't touch it, except when it's
Except when
ridiculous to
all
trade.
the time. That's when I come. But
that's ridiculous. I won't touch it. It blows my stop loss. Except during CPI.
No, I know. It sounds ridiculous.
It sounds ridiculous, yeah.
But however, I've noticed that when it comes to these days where I'm trading news, I am so much more aware and so much more cautious because I know I can get fucked real easily, real fast.
Yeah.
Because it's so volatile. And the thing is, I don't look at these 15-minute time frames. I don't do that whatsoever. For entries, maybe 15-minute at the lowest.
Yeah.
But I look at the 1 hour, 4 hour, the week and the month.
Which makes sense.
The week and the month is something that I started utilizing this year. I wish I did it a little bit earlier to give me a little bit of a more better, I guess you can say, better idea behind what's going to happen for future references.
Yeah.
But it's, again, something that was out of my scope, I guess you can say, because the 1 hour and the 4 hours were doing so well for me in the daily time frames as well, which is the reason why I started doing more swing trading. And since we have swing accounts for fortunes, sign up. Yo, swing accounts.
Swing accounts, regular accounts.
They are the new wave for Muslims, honestly, because again, as Muslims, we can't really take these interest fees or swap fees. So if you have a swing account, it's a lot more, I guess you can say, in par with your spiritual beliefs. And I feel like it's something that allows you to have more time to do other things in life, you know? Like I'm very passionate about bodybuilding, and that's something I have to monitor 24/7 as well. Which, alhamdulillah, the discipline that I have from bodybuilding start to come intact with trading as well. From dieting 24/7, training consistently twice a day.
It's funny you said that. Me and Tim were talking about it before you even got here. We were talking about, because a lot of the same things that make you do well in one, it's transferable. It's the same skills. It's discipline. It's patience. All those things, they line up. So
yeah. And it's crazy too, because recently with the injuries that I had with my most recent car accident, with all the hernias and operations on my lower back, like I could see how it all titles together with discipline and taking the action. That's the most important part, taking the action, man. Because someone at my height at 185 pounds, like I didn't look like I was 185 pounds. I showed you a picture of it earlier.
No.
People would think that I was 200, but no, I always weighed the lowest. I've been able to lift at least 400 or 500 pounds, not for 1 rep maxes, for at least 8 to 12 reps.
Yeah.
But to do that, being at my weight, as small as my joints are, and all the injuries that I have, the impact that it takes on my joints, you really get scared sometimes of weightlifting, and you need to take that course of action that's best for you in order to get the best results out of it. In order for me to be a professional bodybuilder, I have to lift all these weights. I have to eat all these enormous amounts of foods every single day. I can't stop one day, otherwise it's going to hurt my digestion, it's going to hurt my movement, it's going to hurt everything. And same thing with trading. You have to look at the charts the same way you look at it every single day with how you trade. You know, everyone has different trading strategies, and that's fine. If you trade fair value gaps, I trade fair value gaps. Someone else trades ICT. Someone else trades something different. That's fine, but you have to stick to your own trading strategies. Stay consistent and disciplined with it. So prior to fitness, I was in the supplement industry in GNC as assistant
Oh,
management for a
yeah.
while, and I was doing that for many years. When I came out of college, I actually ended up leaving college. But when you're working in a team that doesn't want to work along with each other or that don't work too well with each other, it's just a mess for the whole entire business overall because it's going to directly affect your sales,
Of
which is the
course,
main thing
yeah.
we need at GNC because KPI, make sure we have the yearly sales and everything to be higher than the previous year annually because that's their goals. If you're not hitting those goals, you're pretty much jobs on the line.
Yeah.
Then that's where either you're gonna get replaced or you gotta do something about it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I
Yeah.
love this whole entire the way they work together is amazing, man.
We just met JD. He's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's got to come up here and talk about options trading a little later.
Yeah.
Towards the end, we got like 5 minutes left. No, but to backtrack and go back to what you were saying about like every single day and like putting in the work and stuff like that. Me and Tim talked earlier about how that consistency and how like in the beginning is the hardest time, right? Because you don't see any progress. Like
Yeah.
obviously it's not easier per se, but like the light is at the end of the tunnel when you're training to be a professional bodybuilder, right? You obviously already look fucking amazing. Like you're lifting 400 or 500 pounds. Like it's, to some degree, it is easier, you know, to go in and like be like, I already put in all this work. Like, look at what it's accomplished. Whereas someone that has never worked out before, you know, they go in the gym, they can't lift fucking 50 pounds, you know.
Yeah.
Like it's a lot harder. They're gonna wake up, they're gonna be sore. So it's the same when you're trading, because in the beginning, when you're trading, you're not gonna see the results. Like you're not gonna make, like you said, like you don't want to tell people how much money you made because it's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
It's not gonna happen then. It's not gonna happen anytime soon because that's not how it works. Like you have to put in the work and you have to put in the consistency,
Yeah.
and you have to focus on improving. Like you can't focus on making money. That's not how it works in the beginning.
And that's why I'm having trouble actually teaching somebody like students because I don't do signals. I wanted to through my company FX by Snow, but after some time and being with a few other, I guess you can say, signal groups, from learning from them,
Yeah.
they allow you like free entry. You know me when you buy like their
Yeah.
course and stuff like that. I realized over a period of time that it makes people very lazy. These signals.
1,000%.
And they're not learning anything from it, which is the reason why I decided not to do it because I just take on students here and there, maybe 2 or 3 at a time now. Before
Yeah.
it was a little bit more, but now I take way lesser amount per, like, I guess, quarter of the year because if a person doesn't digest the information that's needed to put into practical usages for trading, then all they're doing is either losing money or sitting around doing nothing, waiting for things to happen.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are really hopeful in this industry, and you can't be like that.
No, that's the opposite of what trading is.
Yeah.
Trading is the opposite of hope. You're looking at the market and you're like, all right, so this is what it's doing and this is what it should do. And if it does that, this is where it should go, right? And then you mark that up and you put the trade in. And then the problem, like you said, like the trade will not do what they're expecting. And for some reason they'll be like, oh, it'll do it eventually. Like, no, that's not, you were wrong. Like, what the
Yeah.
fuck are you doing? Like,
Exactly.
they'll re-enter, like they'll double down, like they'll martingale, like all this dumb shit. And it's like, that's why people are losing because they're focusing on the money. They're not focusing on the technique,
Yeah.
you know? Like there were physical repercussions for this stuff, right? Like if you put a trade in, like if you were at the gym and and the trade went wrong and you broke your pinky,
Yeah.
you're not gonna do the exact same thing right afterwards. But like with an account, like people will literally do it and then it'll go bad and then they'll just do it again because it's just,
And they don't understand exactly what they're doing because they don't exactly understand what they're doing until they hit rock bottom.
Yeah.
But then you don't need to be at rock bottom
yeah.
to know you're doing
But then
something wrong.
a lot of times people will hit rock bottom and they'll give up because that's like because then all of a sudden it seems like there's this insurmountable fucking thing that they have to overcome. Whereas
Yeah.
if just you did it right from the get-go, you'd be way ahead of where you are. You know, it's like that feeling that every trader has, right? Like when you're in a bad trade and you're like, oh my God, I'd give anything to just be back before I took this fucking trade, you know?
I
But like
know.
people will, instead of that being one trade, they'll make that their life. And it's
Yeah.
like, you always have to remember that starting in an optimal position is better
Yeah.
than 90% of things sometimes, especially as a trader.
Yeah, one reason journaling helped me too is I was like journaling all these losses, and it kind of hurt me to look like not only I can't stop thinking about the loss and walk
Yeah.
away because now I got to write down. Oh, I took a loss. Oh, I took 5 other losses this week. I'm down this much, and I'm like, you can't escape it mentally if you're like journaling it. You got to accept it.
Yeah,
Kinda forces
you gotta face the reality.
That's something that I'm having trouble, difficulty teaching actually, because one of my students, Sean, who's also funded by Fortunes, actually, he got a payout actually not too long ago.
Oh, it's dope.
Yeah, you guys are definitely gonna bring him on after. I'm pretty sure. in
Wow,
interviews or
that's
something.
Call him up right now. Let's fucking
I
get him
definitely,
up here.
I don't mind, bro.
Where's he live? Is he in New
He's
York?
in the Bronx with his like wife and kids. But I told him like, if anything, can I call you during the interview so you can tell how much you got paid or anything? If you
Oh,
guys,
do it.
Yeah.
He said yeah?
Yeah, he
Oh,
said
okay,
yeah.
let's do it.
No, I'm serious.
The impromptu right here. Look at this.
Because honestly, a lot of people, even with like trading wise, you know how they use signals and they use their RRs and they show the history of it.
Yeah.
I like to use people instead of actual just charts, so this way they can get a full understanding of it. Give them a quick phone call. It's kind of exciting.
This is dope.
Yeah, I know. He hasn't told me how much he got paid yet either. I kind of want to know. He just told me he had to pay out, and I was like, don't tell me how much. But now I'm gonna find out.
If he answers.
Yeah, you should. It's 136. But you should be up. Hey, how you doing, Sean? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How you doing, bro? Right now I'm actually live
On the cash cab.
Yeah, I'm live on the Fortunes Funding podcast, bro. And I wanted to ask you real quick, from being one of my students that I mentor for trading, for Fortunes Funding, you got a recent payout, correct?
Yeah.
How much was it, if you don't mind me asking?
It wasn't much. It was like 2,300.
That's plenty.
That's plenty.
What are we
But
talking about?
A payout's a payout, brother. And how long were you trading Forex with me for? Or how long since we got together, after my wedding and trying to teach you what I can?
Since November.
It's November.
October, late October, November, sometimes around there.
Awesome.
4 months of a payout.
Yeah.
That's fucking impressive.
And I want you to give me just one, if not just one lesson that you learned from me that's probably been the most beneficial.
One lesson, let's see. I learned so many things from you. Pinpointing one isn't like one thing, but I would say becoming consistent with your trade psychology and shaping that is the most number one thing that I've learned from you.
Yep.
That's the most important thing, because trading, anything can turn at any point, but like taking one day at a time and sticking to that psychology will keep you in the game longer than just like kind of playing the lottery and just
Yeah.
Put it all on black, baby.
Oh man, I'm really proud of you, man. Thank you very much for also like picking up, man. I know you might be busy with your like kids and wife. You busy right now?
Yeah, I was feeding them.
Oh, sorry, man. I'll let you get back to it, brother.
All right.
All right. Thank
See
you
you,
for
bro.
picking up. Peace out, brother.
All right. Bye-bye.
But yeah.
Look at that. Got 3 payouts on the fucking thing. Let's go.
Yeah.
That's
and,
dope. That's dope.
That's actually what he said. Actually, it's something that I took a little bit of time to kind of really think about in order of how can I implement this in somebody else, which is psychology. Because when I did first also started trading, I would close my trades at 50% or in profit, and I would not let it hit TP for some reason because I was always afraid that I was going to reverse. But psychology, after journaling and seeing how I am as a person, because as a bodybuilder, I always want to go for heavier weights. I want to do for more reps. I want to do it as fast as I can. I don't care if my body's taking a beating. I'm young, this and the third. Here comes these injuries. Here comes these stop losses. Here comes all these hits. And then after I journaled, thanks to Luca again from LT, shout out to you, and Luis from $1 Million Plan. Luis from $1 Million Plan, MVP family. He helped me see that even though gold, which is so volatile compared to any pair, XAU USD, even though it's very volatile, as long as you can stay consistent and believe in your trading strategy and you've seen the statistics behind it, that it's at least over 50% chance that you can actually win this trade, just stick to it. Either it's going to hit your SL or it's going to hit your take profit. But it's the case of if anything does happen, you can make it a risk-free trade by being in profit and moving SL right into entry.
Yeah.
And then leave it alone. Or just let it hit your SL. See what went wrong.
1,000%.
Reevaluate. And that's where journaling comes into play because you'll see what your idea was initially versus the post results versus what actually happened. Now we can see, okay, where did I go wrong? And now I can make my improvements. In bodybuilding, if I couldn't lift a certain amount of weights, I looked at all the exercises I was doing. What was I missing? What was my missing link? What are my weakest links? I strength trained those, and look at me. Now I'm progressing. What am I missing out on? My diet. I'm not eating enough protein. I'm not having enough carbs, which is actually something that a lot of people don't do when they're trying to lose fat and lose weight nowadays. But you need carbs to lose fat. You need it to lose body fat. You do. A lot of people think, oh, carbs are the enemy. Nah, it's not, man. You gotta understand how carbohydrates work inside the body.
I think you're talking to James Storms right now.
Oh, yeah.
Fasted for 17 weeks at a time. Bro, I haven't eaten in 7 days. Let's go fucking jump in the river and fucking run around Manhattan.
But I mean, again, everyone's goals are different. There are different approaches that you can take because everyone's body is slightly different. You know, not all of us have the same metabolism.
Of course not.
But we can always work on it.
But that's cool that you just said that because that's also relevant to trading, right? Like everyone has different risk tolerance. Like everyone can put in a different amount of capital that they can trade with, right? And you have to work with what you've got, like you just said. Like
exactly, 100%. Even with him, even with my student, like at first he was afraid to risk like full figures, like risking 1%, essentially. But the thing is, to get past that is all the practical practices that you need to take.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Tim, what do you trade?
At this point, I typically trade NASDAQ. But
trades NAS.
Yeah, NAS. No,
but you said so you're giving me grief for trading US 30 and you trade NAS.
I was just gonna say that.
That is so much worse. What are you talking about?
Wait, we're talking about NASDAQ 100, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I don't get stopped out as much compared to US 30 at least.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
I feel like they follow almost like the similar.
They're very similar, but there's actually a cool thing that happens if you trade both. I actually covered this in my stream because you can literally see it happen in real time a lot of times. So what happens is like the institutions and all the big banks and stuff out here in Wall Street, if they're selling one, if it's like a day where indecision is kind of lingering, right? They don't want to really buy, they don't want to really sell. So what they'll do is they'll buy one and they'll sell the other one as a hedge. So in case they're wrong and they're off sides, they don't have to worry about it because they're not really wrong, you know? Yeah. And then they could just, whatever they're selling, they could just stop and then buy and they're already buying the other one, you know? So a lot of times you'll see, like if they go heavy on the NASDAQ, like 9:30, right? Go on, candles start coming up like this on NASDAQ and US 30 and almost the exact same thing will start coming down because they're buying, right? So they're putting in orders, they're like buy, and then they sell the other one to cover themselves.
I see.
Yeah, so that's a cool thing that you'll see a lot of times.
It makes sense too.
Yeah. It's stuff like that you have to really like take a step back and think about as traders because we're not traders in the traditional sense like the banks, you know, like those guys that go into the office every day and they're executing billions of dollars at a time, you know, like they're not ripping trades like we are. They're
not retail traders.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, the market's so manipulated too.
But their stuff is what moves the market.
Yeah, it is. I was in my head while he was saying that. I was thinking that same exact word he just used.
Yeah.
But it's not even. But it only seems manipulative because we're looking at it from our lens where we're only trading one.
Yeah.
Like to them, it makes perfect sense. They're like, if I'm gonna bet $100 million, like you better believe, like I'm not gonna lose that $100 million. Like it fucking up, down.
Is the risk management the same for both of them though?
It depends on the institution, but like you got to think like when they're trading, they're not trading on leverage; they're trading actual money.
Yeah.
So if they sell it and it goes down, they can literally just buy it right back without losing anything, because they just sold it all the way down, and now they buy it back, and they're already up money on Nasdaq, right? And then all of a sudden, US 30 catches up, and now they're up on both.
Exactly.
And that's how they trade. So that's why.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Actually. Thank you for the information.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, it's stuff that you learn the longer you're in this market, and also that's something that's outside of forex. Like you asked me before why I trade US 30, it's because I'm super into the fundamentals and stuff like that on that side. So
a lot of people say too, like, oh, the market's rigged or like the market's manipulated. But like if you think about it, if there's a pattern to it, like it's not really that rigged. Like it might be rigged against you, but if you learn the pattern, you should utilize that pattern to like put it on your side. 1,000%.
And the only reason that people think like that is because they're very egocentric, right? They're like, oh, the market's after my money. Like, no, the market doesn't care. Like, these people don't care. Like, if you have $1,000 in an account, $10,000, even if you have $100,000 in your account, like, they don't give a shit. Like, that's not. They're dealing with trillions of dollars. So the reason they feel that way is like a guppy in the fucking ocean feels like
Yeah.
they're manipulative. Like, no, you're just gonna get a shark's just gonna steamroll right over you, right? He's probably not even gonna go after you on purpose. He's gonna go after the fucking tuna. But you know, if he opens his mouth to get the tuna and you're there, like you're getting swallowed. So like it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of times traders will find excuses too. They'll be like, oh, well, this one was a loss because of this, and they'll kind of play it off because if I'm just like, oh, I made a small mistake here, so it's fine. They'll keep doing that, and it's like, oh, well, like, how are you going to actually take wins if you keep being like, oh, well, I lost because of this, but it's fine now. Like,
Yeah.
Victim. I'm a victim of that shit.
Victim of that, yeah.
I'm a victim
But
of that
that's why the journaling helped you, right?
Yeah, but that's the thing though. Journaling too, like you could take journaling serious to a certain extent, but then there's ways that you can journal to actually make sure that you're more profitable. Like before, when I did start off journaling, I thought maybe if I just record what I did, but it wasn't just recording what I did. It was why I was doing it. That was the most important part that I was missing out on. So like a year's worth of journaling from, I think, when did Fortunes come out again?
January 22nd
Okay,
of
so-
2020.
So I think for like a
Two.
whole five or 6 months I was journaling for nothing. But then, like literally for nothing. Because it was like I was looking at it, I was reading, I was like, yo, this is just what I'm doing. Like, what the hell is this going to help? How is it supposed to help me? And I know a lot of people, it happens to them. You know, even the people that I've mentored, yes, at a certain time it can look like that. But then now let's take your journaling skills, your note-taking skills to the next level and see exactly why you need to journal. You need to journal to see why you're trading this.
Yeah.
You have to see your confluences. Are they all meeting each other? And if they're not, then you just gotta write that down. Jot that down. This is why I'm not taking this trade today. Give yourself a note. Hey, if price action comes into here, price comes to here, you know, make a mental note. Be able to watch out for these zones. Watch out for this price. Look for this liquidity, and etc.
Yeah. So if you could teach somebody right now that's journaling, they're going to start journaling, like how should they start?
Okay, so first thing you should do when you're journaling, from my perspective, again, this is from my journey. The way I journal, the way that you journal may be different as well. But the first thing that I do is your trading strategy. Before you come up with the journal, write down what your trading strategy is.
What you're looking for?
Yeah, exactly. If you don't know what you're looking for, how the hell are you supposed to trade in the first place? You know, and
You should look for the fair value guy, bro. If it's at the top, short it, you know? Just fucking short the top.
this is the problem though.
Yeah.
Is the thing is that people will do that, but again, it's digesting the information. You know, you can write down things, you can hear things, but sometimes things just won't click for each other for some people until they have a certain amount of time and effort, until you get a certain amount of repetitions. In there, you know, like you don't get good at bench pressing from just doing it like 1 or 2 sets. It takes you years to get good at bench pressing. It really does. Same thing with deadlifting and squatting. For you to make higher RR trades or to become a profitable trader, it takes a lot of trades for that to happen. It takes a lot of losses. But the first thing you should do is write down your trading strategy. Next thing you should do is implementing exactly when do you trade, because you shouldn't be trading the same thing at different times throughout the day. Like if you're trading US 30, why would you trade that at 2 in the morning if there's no news or anything happening, anything else? You shouldn't be trading this like during that time frame. If you trade this during New York Open, you should be trading this like perhaps during like maybe post London session. You analyze what's happening. New York session, you start taking your trades. From there, monitor the charts from time to time, but don't stay on that 24/7. I feel like that's complete BS. I feel like people that just stare at the charts all day long, they kind of get paranoid, and that's where psychology comes into play. You know what I mean?
Especially like you just said, it's so important the times, right? Because during London session, during New York session, like that's when the moves happen. Like that's when the people that matter, that I was just talking about earlier, the ones that move the market, that's when they're in play. Outside of those hours, it's just the algorithm. And that's why you see it just chops. So watching that price action, watching that price action doesn't help anyone. Like it's just, you're just watching two machines just go back and forth like clusterfuck.
Yeah.
My problem with NASDAQ is that the only time I've ever traded it, I've shorted it like an absolute jerk off and I've just got blown out. I don't know why. I don't know. I just always look at NASDAQ and I'll be like, this is overextended. Like it's coming down. It's just fucking God candles up.
I hear people all the time. With US 30, the same exact thing, even though...
It sometimes happens with US 30. I just feel like it happens so much more often with NASDAQ because NASDAQ is just so volatile and like people just throw so much money into it.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
It's a little different than most other pairs, especially when you look at the lot sizes for the profits and then losses and
Yeah.
everything. It's a lot different. So people think, oh, higher lot size, higher riskier trades, higher profits. You know, well, what's that quote again? No risk, no Rari.
No risk, no reward.
Yeah.
My boy, wow, what did he say to me the other sense? He goes, it's either going to be Ferrari or food stamps, baby.
Right.
Yeah, I saw this picture. It was two pictures of guys next to each other. One was in a Ferrari. It said Forex trader, and there's a guy right next to him that was homeless, and he said Forex trader.
That's funny.
That's hilarious. Yeah, that's
What's so
true.
funny?
And the only difference is one of them sells courses and the other one just trades.
Yeah, in the trading space, there are a lot of people that sell courses.
Yeah. I mean,
lot.
it just makes money. It makes money, and it makes sense, you know, because if you're monetizing a skill that you already have, like he just said, you can only do so much on the charts, and that's the thing. Like even if you're the best fucking trader in the world, like sometimes you can't trade. Like there's no trade for you to take.
Yeah, and all
But
the
you can teach people during that time. You can make a course, like you can make this content. It's just the problem is, like you said, there's so much now. Like it's very hard to discern the difference, and you gotta be able to, because otherwise you're gonna get stuck following some schmuck. You know, it's not gonna help.
I've paid for a handful of like signals and courses and all that, and honestly, I haven't picked up too much from any of them.
Nah.
You can always use them as counter indicators. You know, if you find one that's like a really bad trader, you just take like the opposite trade. Like you'll look at what he's looking at, and you'll see like a setup sometimes that's the exact opposite of what you want. That's really funny sometimes if you ever like join a bunch of signals groups, right? And then like the free ones or whatever, and you'll see somebody like mark up a signal, and then you'll look at the chart and you'll be like, huh, the exact opposite thing is about to happen.
I feel like every trader's gotten to a point where they've been so unprofitable, they thought to themselves, you know what, maybe I could make money if I just reverse, like hit buy instead of sell.
Every single person does that, yeah. Yeah, especially in the beginning. No, I feel like it's a little after the beginning, you know? Because in the beginning, you're kind of figuring things out, and then all of a sudden you think you have it, and then you just lose. And you're like, I'm just going to do the fucking opposite of what I think.
That's the thing, too.
And you get
'cause,
torched.
Something that I think a lot of people, and it's not talked about enough, I feel like, in this industry, from looking at just podcasts and things in general, is market conditions.
Oh, yeah, 1,000%.
And it's so important. And it's when I started journaling exactly what's happening in the markets and what I'm looking for. And if they're meeting each other halfway, or if they're meeting each other, then it's like, okay, this is what I should be trading. But when it's not, that's when you kind of have to have enough respect for yourself and your bank account that I need to step away from this as a business decision. As you said, you have to treat it as a business.
Yeah, 1,000%.
Because now the risk for me losing money in this is much more higher as opposed to me being profitable in this trade. And you really do have to treat it as a business. And I'm really glad you actually mentioned that at the beginning, man. That's something that a lot of people need to really take into account. And what I'm saying right now is probably not going to register with a lot of people.
Nah.
That's totally fine. That's okay. But watch this video like 200-300 times, maybe okay.
200-300 times. No, just watch it like a year later.
Yeah, because even fair value gaps, and again, I'm thankful for Luca from NLT again for teaching me fair value gaps. But even the very first few times where he taught me, it didn't click right away until I started practicing and back testing on the year before that from TradeView.
Yeah.
And then I started asking more questions, and I'm really thankful and helpful. Thankful that he was helpful enough to break down fair value gaps for me, because that really made a big difference in my whole trade psychology, journaling, everything. Because once you start seeing profits and like payouts, it really shifts your mindset into what's possible, you know? Like for a person coming into the gym, they want to build so much muscle mass. You know, I want to be lean. I want to be toned.
I want to be shredded and jacked at the same
I want to have
time.
a beach body. I want to get mad bitches. This, that, and the third. You know, and the thing is, they think it happens overnight or happens within a week or a month, but it's just not. It's just not it.
Yeah.
It's not possible.
Yeah, no.
More people would have it then.
Exactly. Everybody will be jacked.
Yeah.
But obesity is like one of the main health problems in the fucking country. And that's the reason why you have to really look at everything in terms of, okay, this is a possibility. This is an outcome that can happen. But what is it that's required for this to happen? That's what everybody needs to really sit down with yourself and think about it. Because if you're one of those traders that you're taking a lot of losses consistently, and when I say consistently, I'm not afraid to admit this. I've been on a 30 streak loss before, and that was in my journal. I literally journaled it, and I remember it exactly. From 2022 on November all the way till February were all straight losses for those 4 months.
Fuck.
For 4 straight months, I was hitting 30 trades. All those trades were losses, and I lost like I think close to 3 accounts. None of them were funded. They were just challenges. One of them was in phase 2, if I'm not mistaken. But it wasn't until I started journaling when I like, was with NLT and Luca was like, look over everything that you're doing, and I want you to ask yourself if you're actually profitable or not. And I looked over my trades, and I was just, man, I was at the bottom at that time too, because I was just about to start bodybuilding with my coach again and start competing.
Yeah.
I won one of my very first shows in bodybuilding, and I was like, yo, I want to become a professional bodybuilder. I want to make mad money from trading, so now I don't have to really work like, these side jobs, this, that, and the third. Having all
Yeah.
these hopes and dreams, but it wasn't until I really took a step back and looked at what I was doing and be able to be honest with myself. And that's a problem with the industry. There aren't a lot of honest people.
No. Also, it's not sexy. It's
Yeah.
if you just draw back to what you just said about fitness too. Like fitness people on Instagram are huge, but they're all the guys that are jacked already. And a lot of those guys are like on shit too. Which
Yeah.
they don't talk about. Like
They
nobody
don't talk
goes.
about PEDs or steroids.
Nobody,
No, they don't.
nobody watches the video of the dude who just went into the gym and it's like a week in.
Yeah.
But what they do watch is they watch that and then the transformation, right? Because they
Yeah.
want that instant gratification.
Exactly,
Yeah.
instant gratification.
Yeah.
And they get that from all these traders posting, oh, look, I'm in profits.
Yeah.
But what they won't post is go all the way to the side of the settings and let me see your name and say it's a live account.
But even if it's a live account, like there are traders that will literally like they'll just they'll do the opposite. Like they'll open up a buy on one account or they'll open up a
Lost
sell.
account.
And I know.
There's so much bullshit to
There's
this
so
fucking
much.
industry.
And
Yeah,
brokers delete trades sometimes
Yeah,
too
and,
for people.
oh, they
Oh
have
my
fake they have
goodness.
fake accounts. Like it's the only thing that matters is like that you're trading and you're improving with your trades. That's it, and that you're following someone who's helping you do that. Because otherwise, unless those two things are happening, like then what the fuck are you getting? Like
Exactly.
even if your mentor is like the best trader in the world, right? And he's got like 70 fucking Lambos and like fucking on a yacht and this, that, and the third. How does that help you if it's not making you a better trader day in and day out? Like it's not.
Yeah.
You're better off with someone that's a decent trader and is gonna make you a great fucking trader.
Yeah. I said
So-
something in like the very first interview online. If you're not if you're not trying to be progressive in terms of your craft, then you're most likely going to be content or you're going to be regressive.
Yeah.
And when you're regressive, you're hitting ourselves. And when you're content, you're not taking trades. And in order to stay progressive, you have to keep with the discipline. And man, all these great things that we're saying, even in other podcasts with Fortunes, give so many great tips, give
Yeah.
so many great information, but it just won't click with half the traders. And I feel bad. I really do. But at the same time, or actually I can't feel bad. If I feel sympathetic, I'll be same thing as pitying someone. That's fucked up. I guess you
Not
could say
necessarily.
I feel remorseful in a sense because I was in their position.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would be a proper.
It's empathetic.
Yeah, empathy.
Empathetic, yeah.
So-
But you gotta remember that I actually just saw this. It was kind of messed up, but at the same time, like I saw this interview, that Instagram channel where they like talk to random successful guys. You know what I'm talking about? There's
There's a few of them.
Yeah, they're popping up like left and right. But I
Yeah.
saw one because he was asking the guy, and he's like, "What's the number one thing?" And of course, the guy's like, "Well, you need to believe in yourself, and like really, really believe in yourself, like
Yeah.
no matter what." And he's like, "At the end of the day, that's not something that's teachable." And he's like,
No,
and
it's
he's
not.
like, "Not everyone has that." He's like, "Not everyone can be a winner, you know." Like in order for someone to make money, someone's got to lose money. Like that's the way the market works. It's zero sum. Like you just said, there's got to be liquidity somewhere, you know. Like it's every single person can't get on the charts and just run it up. It's just it doesn't exist that way.
No.
So
And another thing too in this industry is that there are a lot of hypocrites
Sure.
because a lot of things
That's
they do
true in
believe
everything,
and
though.
preach, they don't follow. They
Yeah.
do the exact opposite. They do it on social media in front of you.
yeah,
Like take religion for example. There's all these people that's using these terms like Alhamdulillah, which is all praise to God.
hmm
But here they are like doing the opposite of their religion. They're like going against all the taboos. They're
Yeah.
being a hypocrite. They're lying, drinking, doing drugs. And here's the thing, like what you do is what you do, but at least practice what you preach. Don't keep it to
1,000%.
yourself.
Your integrity is the only thing that like you can't fake.
Yeah.
You could fake everything else, but your integrity it's just that's the one thing that matters more than everything else because that's who you are. You know?
Yeah, it is. And it's crazy because who you are actually kind of defines half your trades. I wasn't really aware of this until recently. I can't remember the exact name of it. I don't want to name the platform either because I don't want to market anybody else. But
Is it good or is it bad? You know,
It was pretty crappy.
let's throw out some fucking names, baby. Put them under.
No lawsuits, please. Because that's another problem too in this industry. It's so easy to catch a lawsuit, especially nowadays.
To catch a
man.
suit.
It's just terrible. But this person was talking about how in this industry there are people that trade and are successful, but majority of the time you would see that their success revolves around their personality as well.
Yeah.
Because there are people that can scalp, and there are people that can swing, you know, and a lot of times it is attached to your personality and who you are as a person,
1000%.
you know. And I was very like ignorant of that for a very long time.
But it's also being self-aware, right? Because there are a lot of people. There are successful scalpers and there are successful swing traders, and there are people that in both proficiencies that are very, very, very successful. The problem is like when you're built as a scalper and you want to be a swing trader, or vice versa, right?
Yeah.
Especially like the people that want to be a scalper at the start, right? They want to snipe the perfect fucking entry, and then they'll try and hold it for like. So you're scalping something on the fucking 5-minute chart, and then you're gonna hold it on the hourly. You're like, yeah, it's gonna fucking run here. Like that doesn't make sense.
And a lot of people use that as their trading strategies
Yeah.
for high RR nowadays. But the thing is like anything can happen in the market.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer on whatever time frame you enter on. Like your exit needs to be on the same time frame.
Time frame, yeah.
Because otherwise, you're looking at two completely different trades. That doesn't even make sense.
But however, you could use other time frames as a confluence for your trading
For your
strategy.
entry, yeah.
Yeah.
No, because I like to use the hourly or like the 4-hour, and then I'll drop down into the 15-minute to find the exact spot I want to enter. But like I'm not marking that trade up on the 15-minute chart.
Yeah,
that's
of course,
that's
of
a trade
course,
I'm
yeah,
marking
yeah.
up on those
100%
charts.
agree with you
Yeah.
with that, for sure.
Yeah, you could use that as like further take profits maybe, but like not your initial one. You should be taking the most off like lower RR.
Yeah. It also depends on the strategy. Like you said, I always aim for liquidity as my entry point. So like I'm gonna wait for it to hit the liquidity that I mark my chart up on. Otherwise, it's like then why did I even make the setup?
Yeah.
Because then you're changing the trade.
And also for people to not be afraid of liquidity too. Because sometimes you do gotta take a few losses to like learn your lesson.
1000%.
Because there are some people that will just wait there on the charts and they'll wait like days for the perfect setup.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Be patient, it's great. You know, if you don't see your setup, don't take it. But then there are people that will wait days, but then when the setup comes, they're just like, holy crap, there's so much going on right
Well, because
now.
they psyched themselves out. They were too invested in this thing that didn't even materialize. Like
Yeah.
you have to go into every trade with the mindset that it's like this could go very wrong. It could go exactly like it's supposed to. You know? It's just.
Yeah, the expectations are just.
It's just another. It's just another. It's just another trade, and
Yeah.
but that's the problem. Is like especially people that over leverage, like they do shit like that, right? Because they want to make it all in one trade.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to think in terms of like probabilities. Like if I take this exact same setup over like 100 trades, like am I going to be profitable or not? Like
Yeah.
over like a longer term scale.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, I feel like we talked about most of the stuff we needed to cover. Definitely got a lot of good psychology tips in there. You know, a lot of technical tips. You broke down fair value gaps for us, which I still don't understand. So I'm gonna.
We'll all sit on the charts together one day for sure.
Yeah,
and run this over
1000%.
for sure. We have to.
Yeah, it'd be dope if we did like a stream, Zoom or
Yeah.
something. Yeah, so we got a couple more minutes. Anything in particular you guys wanna touch on? I think one good thing is to always leave off on like if you had one thing that you could tell the traders that are just starting out or the ones that are struggling, like what's that one thing?
I guess for me at least, like there's a couple steps in trading. Your first step, you got to find a strategy that's actually profitable. So you got to be able to go back in time and test it and show that over time it actually made money. Once you've done that, you got to mess with your psychology. So you got to make sure in real time you're actually implementing this strategy the same way you did in the past time. So then you're actually replicating it the same way. And then at that point, once you're replicating it the same way in real time, you'd want to start journaling all your trades like we were talking about before, and just making sure that you're not making any mistakes compared to how you made money in the past.
I definitely concur with what he said, 100%. The one thing I would just say, because of how the prop industry is right now, in particular with all these investigations, all these red flags, and even switching between platforms, you know, people thought that platforms were over when MetaQs, you know, stopped working on platforms, but no, there's the thing you have to understand. MetaQ is only one platform. There's always going to be another platform. There's always going to be another platform. Try to be a little bit more positive and believe that you can be successful in this industry as you can be successful in any industry for the matter, as long as you take the proper approach, as long as you are able to digest all the information needed to put you on a better path to success. But here's the thing though, also be aware while you do believe in yourself that there are going to be a lot of roadblocks, there's going to be a lot of obstacles to overcome. And when they happen, they will happen. And don't lose sight of the goal. The goal for everybody at the end of the day as a trader is to stay profitable, to pay our bills, and to be able to go out and be able to do what we want to do, you know? Like, who doesn't want to make like 5K in a trade, call it a day, that 5K will pay your rent. Next week, 5K will pay for like food money. Next day, 5 week will pay for like a trip. You know, like you have to take it in a sense in a matter where you believe that you can make this happen, but don't forget about the necessary requirements of taking action and being progressive in everything that you're doing in your craft.
So, yeah, it's good stuff. So then, I guess the last thing to touch up on before we go is what does the future look like? What are you guys looking towards in the future?
The main thing I'm working toward is I want to get out of my job and just be either like a full-time trader or just not rely on the income from my job, because I don't know, I really just don't like working a job. I know no one does, but I see a lot more for myself, and if I could actually quit my job, that could give me more time to like pursue a business or whatever I choose. But
You know what James would say right now, right? You just quit right now. Just
Yeah.
quit right now. Just sell your shit and just fucking start trading right
I
now.
have student debt though, and like one thing I do like is I can guarantee make my payments though with my job. So if I have a losing month, like I don't need income.
No, I'm not an advocate
yeah.
for that. I was just saying, I was the spirit of James. Was like, bro, I'll never forget. He's like, just fucking sell your car and just fucking trade.
I mean, it worked for him, but what if it doesn't work out for me? I could be homeless.
No, yeah, James,
no.
James is a very specific breed.
Yeah, I definitely. I know a lot of people in your position. I have a few students that was in that position, and I normally tell them around third month of a span, like, look, what you're making annually, do you think you can make that in trading right now? I mean, let's look at your trades. Let's look at the funded accounts.
Yeah.
Let's look at the ones that you actually failed. What payouts have you gotten? Like the payout that Sean got, for example, it was like $2,300, right? And New York, that will particularly take care of rent. Right now, for a one bedroom in New York, which is really
But it
expensive.
won't, because we covered that earlier, the taxes.
Oh yeah, taxes too. Yeah.
Tax-
So the financial literacy. Oh, something too. Financial literacy is something you guys have to all look into, because these payouts you get from your broker, from fortunes, from everybody. Yeah, that's not the money you're gonna get.
No.
You gotta give some of that money back. Talk to Sam.
Right. It's going to Biden, baby.
Yeah. Oh, Biden, this guy.
No. we'll skip over that. So
Yeah.
what about the future for you?
Future for me is to
Fucking
be
back to the
able-
gym.
Man, be able to compete bodybuilding wise.
Yeah.
That's the main thing, honestly, is all my injuries and my operations. I've got done with rehab. Now is to get back and train like a beast, get back on PEDs. And also for trading wise, essentially for finances, I want to recover all that profit from capital that I lost, but with fortunes instead of other profit firms. But of course, I want to earn it, you know.
Yeah.
And I want to be able to also be able to. It's really hard to put into words. I had the idea of opening up a prop firm, but I've been more reluctant on staying away from it because I'd rather work with fortunes after being with like several other like prop firms and
Yeah.
seeing how they all kind of like fucked me over.
Yeah, it's a hard industry, bro. I'm not even gonna lie. Like even on our end, we're constantly fighting battles to do shit the right way.
Yeah,
So it's
I know.
not easy.
And a lot of people don't know all the work that goes behind prop firm, man. Like I give a lot of respect and a lot of respect for James because it's just so much that's going on in trading right now with these
Yeah.
prop firms and regulations. And there are rules that may seem kind of annoying to a lot of traders, but these rules are in place for you to become more self-aware.
1,000%, and that's why the firms.
People don't know that, though.
No,
Like, we have to tell people
1,000%, because the firms pop up, right, and they say everything people want to hear, right, like 100% payout, like no fucking minimums, blah 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 blah
And then
blah.
they get fucked over like I did. Yeah.
And then you go and you get a payout and they just deny it and then they fucking disappear like that, you know, because they're not a real thing.
And here's the thing: if for people that may not believe or may not know, like I've been denied 4 and 5 figure payouts from these firms, and it sucks because you put months, like at least 2-3 months to pass phase 1 and 2 and get that funded account and then getting a payout.
Yeah.
At least 3 months, I would say, to get a payout, and those 3 months are gone when you could have just been working on a firm that's been paying people out. even if you don't get a 5-6 figure payout, it's fine. You're getting a payout at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Just work with the firms that you know that holds themselves to the highest integrity. Instead, don't fall for all these cheap marketing schemes. That's all it is. A lot of marketers out there that just do so well. Like, I'm like, damn, you guys are so innovative with this creative shit. Y'all be catching people on left
I
and
know.
right.
Yeah. No, the fundamentals are what matter, you know? It's just like trading. At the end of the day, I think most people know better now when it comes to trading, which is funny
Well, I
because
hope they do.
the trading space and actual trading is like, that's the same thing, but the stuff that they fall for in the space, they don't fall for in trading, right? Like, if you look at most people's charts, they don't have a fucking million indicators anymore, you know? They're not using fucking stochastic indicators and like fucking all
Oh,
this
they're not
crazy
relying
shit.
on the EMAs, SMAs
Yeah.
only. Like, oh, rejection off this EMA. I take profit.
Okay. 200 MA is a solid. That's a foundational piece. But like aside from that, like there's so many. If you open up the fucking indicator thing, do you know how many fucking things come up there?
There's a million of them now. There's so many people marketing like AI indicators and
Oh
this,
my
that, the
God.
third down. I'm like, look, if you don't know the fundamentals, how the fuck would you know?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. All right, I think that might be it. Unless JD, you want to come up here?
Think you wrapped it up?
Not today.
Not today.
Yeah, I mean, next time.
Yeah, next time. All right, yeah, I think that's it.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Thank
for
you guys for
having us,
coming. Thank you for
actually,
fucking
yeah.
driving a
Yeah,
world
I know.
and a half.
Sure, over an hour and a half
Yeah,
just
this-
to get for the interview. That's dedication.
It wasn't that
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, he came down here to teach you guys about fair value gaps. You know, you're welcome.
Yeah, remember what I said? Watch it like 200-300 times. It won't click the first few,
Like
but
200-300
you'll be all right.
in a row, just
You'll
on
be all right,
repeats.
yeah.
Just whenever you're trading, just put this in the background, just like Fortune's funding. All right, yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah.
I think we're good. Which side? Is that still on?
I don't know, bro.
Oh,